You might think of street dance as just, incredible moves, gravity-defying flips, maybe those intense high-energy battles.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely part of it.
And yes, it is all of that. But here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, it's actually so much more. It's
Mm.
this really vibrant, ever-evolving cultural story, and it's one that's deeply intertwined with community, with identity, and honestly, with a surprising rich history that we're about to uncover, sort of layer by layer.
Indeed. And what's truly fascinating about New Zealand's street dance scene, I think, is how it's just organically grown and adapted over time.
Right.
It's woven itself into the very fabric of the nation's youth culture, really defying its geographical isolation to make a truly global impact in some cases.
Yeah, it's a story of resilience, of creativity that you might not expect from, down here.
Exactly.
So today we're taking a deep dive into that exhaustive history, that detailed timeline of street dance right here in New Zealand.
Yeah, let's get into it.
We're going to unpack its unexpected origins, trace the paths of the pioneering figures who really laid the groundwork,
The ones who started it all.
highlight those iconic crews that defined entire eras, explore the significant events and the battle scenes that pushed the boundaries.
And celebrate the individual dancers, the people who shaped this unique landscape.
Absolutely. Our mission here is basically to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight from the rich sources you've provided us with.
We want to give you a true shortcut, really, to being genuinely well-informed about NZ's street dance.
Complete with those surprising facts and engaging stories that we promise will keep you absolutely hooked.
Oh,
So to kick us off, as you look at all this incredible material, this history, what stands out to you right from the very beginning? Like, what's the first spark?
okay, well, what immediately jumps out right at the dawn of this movement is just how enthusiastically breaking was received when it first landed in Aotearoa.
Really? Not a slow burn then.
Not at all. It was like a cultural explosion right from the get-go. It felt almost as if the youth of New Zealand were just waiting for something like this.
A cultural explosion. I like that image. Let's really unpack that then, because we're talking about the very genesis here, the seeds of street dance planted back in the early 1980s, stretching into the 90s.
Mhm.
So when breaking first landed in Aotearoa, it clearly wasn't just another dance style hitting the shores. It became something much bigger, a true phenomenon, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. When breaking first made its way down here to Oceania in the early 1980s, New Zealand was just ready for it.
Just ready.
Yeah, the historical accounts, they tell us it was received by thousands of very enthusiastic youth all across the country.
Thousands. So not just a niche thing.
No, definitely not niche. It wasn't confined to a small group of enthusiasts in, one city. It was widespread, immediate, a real cultural embrace.
Wow.
You have to imagine the impact. It truly signifies the dawn of an era for street dance here. It offered this new form of energetic, physical, and really expressive art.
And crucially, unlike maybe some other fads from the 80s, breaking has stuck around, right? It's been a continuous presence.
It really has. It's been a continuous presence in New Zealand culture ever since that initial spark. It's constantly evolving, sure, but it never faded away entirely.
Why do you think it landed so hard so fast? Was there something specific about NZ youth culture then?
Well, its rapid adoption suggests there was fertile ground. Maybe a craving for new forms of expression that just resonated with the times, Or perhaps there was already a strong communal spirit, especially in Māori and Pasifika communities, that breaking tapped into really powerfully.
That makes sense. It offered identity, community.
Exactly. It seemed to offer an immediate sense of identity and belonging for thousands of young people who were maybe looking for their voice. It provided this exciting new outlet for creativity and camaraderie, often outside of the more traditional structures.
But, okay, despite that incredible initial reception, you mentioned this sort of persistent 80s stereotype hangover, as some dancers call it.
Right. Yeah, that's a real thing.
What does that actually mean for breaking's public image in New Zealand? And how has the dance form evolved beyond that maybe limited initial perception?
It means that for a long time, and unfortunately you still see it a bit today, the public perception of breaking was largely stuck in that 1980s image.
Like headspins and windmills.
Pretty much. People thought it was solely about spinning on our back or doing those flashy acrobatic power moves. And that stereotype, while, yeah, it's rooted in an early phase, it unfortunately endures for some. It leads to this limited, often inaccurate understanding of the art form's real depth and complexity.
But the reality is different now.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
The reality is that the dance form has evolved so much over the decades. You've got international competitions pushing standards, constant exchange of knowledge through workshops, travel.
And just sheer dedication from the dancers themselves.
Absolutely. All of that has pushed the boundaries. It's led to incredible advancements in skill, creativity, complexity. It goes way beyond just those initial power moves.
So what does breaking look like today then?
Well, breaking today is this really sophisticated art form. It incorporates intricate footwork, top rock, down rock freezes. Those power moves are still there, but integrated differently, dynamic transitions. And it often blends individual expression with the raw energy of the battle.
It's like a continuous conversation between tradition and innovation.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
So where did this evolution begin in a competitive sense within New Zealand? Were there formal structures popping up early on, or was it purely, informal jams in parks and community halls?
Well, those informal jams were undoubtedly crucial, right? That's the breeding ground for creativity and skill development.
The foundation.
Exactly.
Oh.
But the foundational competitive landscape emerged pretty quickly, too. It really began with early YMCA competitions and, significantly, the Bob Olympics events.
Bob Olympics. Okay. What were those like?
These events were absolutely crucial because they provided the first sort of formalized stages for dancers to battle, to push each other, and to begin shaping what would become this vibrant and highly competitive scene later on.
You can just imagine the energy in those early halls.
Oh, yeah. Dancers pushing boundaries, showing off new moves they'd maybe seen on TV or invented, gaining recognition within their, nascent community.
Right.
These initial steps really set the tone for the future of street dance battles in the country. They moved the culture from just casual gatherings into more structured, sometimes high-stakes environments that demanded dedication and technical mastery. They were the proving grounds.
That's fascinating. So while breaking was taking root and starting to formalize competitively, there were also these visionary leaders emerging, figures who look beyond just the dance steps.
Yes, absolutely.
And one name that comes up immediately in the sources is Mika Haka. What was his pivotal role in these very early days, particularly down in Christchurch?
Mika Haka's influence in Christchurch back in the early 1980s was truly groundbreaking. He showed this foresight that went way beyond just teaching choreography.
How so?
He started working with a group he called the Colored Crew Lockers. But his vision extended far beyond just teaching them specific dance steps, like popping, the rapid muscle tensing and relaxing or locking with those sudden freezes.
Like the characteristic moves.
Yeah. His focus was actually on transforming young people into emerging leaders. That was his phrase.
Wow. How did he do that through dance?
He taught them a comprehensive set of skills.
Ah.
How to sing, how to dance, how to act, and maybe most importantly, how to manage themselves both on stage and off.
That's a really holistic approach.
Totally. It was about profound personal and community empowerment. He recognized that the arts could be this incredibly powerful vehicle for youth development.
So he wasn't just creating dancers. He was nurturing well-rounded individuals, future leaders.
Precisely.
How has that profound philosophy continued to manifest over the years? What's been its lasting impact?
Well, his long-standing philosophy has been to invest these young individuals with what he called social capital.
Social capital.
Yeah, essentially giving them the networks, the confidence, the practical skills to navigate the world, build their own futures, and contribute meaningfully back to their communities.
So it wasn't just teaching moves.
No, he was teaching them how to, quote, perform their own empowerment, how to lead, how to find their voice, how to harness their talents for personal and collective upliftment.
And this wasn't just an 80s project. He continued this work.
Definitely not fleeting. It's a mission he continues today under the Mika Haka Foundation. It shows this unwavering commitment to youth development through the arts.
That's incredible dedication.
And even into the early 2000s, his commitment to cultural development continued with his creation of Aotearoa.
Aotearoa.
Another initiative, yeah. Further solidifying his role in nurturing young talent and providing platforms for artistic expression. So what you see is this consistent, deep-rooted commitment to using art as a vehicle for personal growth, community building, leadership development.
Leaving an indelible mark, really.
Undoubtedly. On countless lives in the broader cultural landscape of New Zealand.
That's a powerful, enduring legacy. And as these foundational roots were being laid by people like Mika, we also saw the rise of entirely new crews and this incredible dedication from self-taught dancers, often drawing inspiration from, well, global media.
The classic story.
Let's talk about Tapui Toki, widely known as B-Boy Papa Smurf. What was his pivotal moment? How did his journey lead directly to what's described as the second wave of the breaking resurgence?
Tapui Toki's story is such a perfect example of how inspiration, particularly from popular culture, can just spark an entire movement.
What sparked it for him?
In 1997, he was just 14 years old, and he was completely captivated by the music video for Run DMC and Jason Nevins' It's Like That.
Ah, I remember that video. Huge track.
Exactly. And this single moment of visual inspiration, just a glimpse into this world of dance, it quickly led to significant action for him.
How quickly?
Just 2 years later, at the remarkably young age of 16.
16.
Yeah, 16. Toki co-founded the Instance Movement crew known as ISM.
ISM. Okay.
He founded it alongside Awa and Heath.
Who would later be a Nesian mystic.
The very same. So this crew, ISM, they didn't just form and practice, they quickly made their mark. They achieved this really significant milestone by winning the first Raw Stylas national event in 1999 at Youthtown, Auckland.
Wow, okay. So that win was important.
Hugely important. That victory truly heralded what the sources call the second wave of the breaking resurgence in New Zealand. It injected this fresh burst of energy into the scene, which had maybe quieted down a little since the initial 80s boom.
So it proved the passion was back and maybe more organized.
Exactly. It was back, it was competitively organized, and it was being led by this new, really determined generation.
It's incredible how a single music video can ignite such a profound passion and kickstart a whole new wave.
It really is.
And speaking of that self-taught dedication, Chris Tiva's journey is another fantastic example. It showcases a different, perhaps unexpected path into street dance. He started in a very different dance world altogether, didn't he?
Yeah, his journey is quite illustrative of the diverse and often, indirect paths dancers took into street dance during this period.
Where did you start?
Chris Tiva actually began his dance life in the highly structured world of ballroom and Latin dancing.
Wow, okay. Very different vibe.
Totally. He competed all over New Zealand, even went to Australia for about 6 years, starting back in intermediate school.
But street dance called to him.
It seems so.
Yeah.
His passion for that kind of dance truly ignited when he started watching music videos. Artists like Usher, Justin Timberlake, he was captivated by their smooth, dynamic hip-hop movements.
The classic MTV inspiration rap.
Exactly. So with a friend, Kami Mom, he then self-taught himself hip-hop moves just by jamming in our rooms, essentially learning by watching, experimenting, mimicking what they saw on screen.
That informal, self-driven learning must have been common then.
Oh, absolutely. It was a common pathway for many early street dancers, mainly because formal training institutions for these styles just didn't exist in New Zealand at the time. You had to figure it out.
And then, as you mentioned earlier, a film amplified that interest even further, making hip-hop big and everywhere.
Ah, yes, you got served.
That film, it really highlights the catalytic power of media in spreading these cultural forms, doesn't it?
Undeniably, that film was a cultural touchstone. It mainstreamed hip-hop dance, made it hugely accessible and, frankly, desirable to a much wider audience.
Yeah, everyone wanted to learn those moves.
Chris himself noted that after the movie came out, hip-hop was just everywhere. For him, this burgeoning interest was then deepened significantly when he took that certificate in Maori performing arts with Mika Haka.
Connecting back to Mika.
Exactly. And this was a crucial step because it allowed him to connect directly with established figures in the burgeoning street dance scene. He shifted from just self-taught learning to getting mentorship from those already immersed in the culture.
So he connected directly with the pioneers, the experienced dancers of the scene. Who were some of these key mentors for him? And what specific old-school styles did he learn from them that became foundational?
It was there, through Mika Haka's program, that Chris was mentored by figures like Taupuhi Toki boy Papa Smurf, again from ODC. Toki became his old dance mentor.
Full circle.
Yeah, and he learned those old school styles directly from them, alongside people like Gandalf Archer and Joel Guyard.
What styles are we talking about?
These styles included popping that muscle contraction style, locking with the freezes and points, and of course boying, the foundational style of breaking with its footwork, power moves, freezes.
Getting that direct lineage of knowledge must have been huge.
Crucial. Passed down from those who'd been in the scene for a while, it was vital for his foundational development and understanding the authentic roots of hip-hop dance.
And it was around this time he discovered krump, too.
Yes, and again, demonstrating the ongoing influence of media, it was during this period that he found his path to krump. He saw that powerful 2005 documentary Rise at the Civic Theater.
Our Eyes, yeah. Intense film.
He described seeing the movie as This pivotal moment, he said, ever since that movie, I just started doing it, which just shows the profound catalytic influence of seeing something like that.